JJK Chapter 261 is here, and man, things has gone more twisted than it is. I know you've already read it from the other spoilers, but dang, Gege has again pulled out another unexpected move. I know, a lot of Gojo fans are crying right now. The chapter starts from last week's cliffhanger, with Yuji enraged from the death of his brother Choso, as he tears his claws right through Sukuna's body, thinking of crushing Sukuna's heart to finally end this carnage, even if it also means killing his friend Megumi. Dang, I think our boy is slowly losing it, giving into his grief and rage, and I can't blame him, as Sukuna has basically tortured him in this entire battle by killing his loved ones. Man, if Yuji really loses his cool, we're gonna see one of the best rage moment in this anime. With Yuji claws tearing through his body, Sukuna is still unfazed. Like the man doesn't even feel the pain of Yuji's claws, but as the king tries to activate his domain, out from the distance walking through the clouds of dust he sees someone that he had already cut down, and it's none other than the fan favorite, Gojo Satoru, but something is off as he appears to have stitches on his head and with a more good-looking eyes. At first it seems like Sukuna is in disbelief, but smiles as he figures it out. As he punches Yuji back, Sukuna then apologizes since he never thought that this someone could ever do something like this, as he calls out, "Yuta Okatsu, man, so it's Yuta piloting Gojo's body." Dang, I think JJK has the most twists and turns out of all anime. I mean, like when you think that you've already figured it out, Gege just simply pulls out a scene that completely destroys everybody's prediction. It's like he's constantly pushing it to the limits. Man, this guy is a genius. In a flashback we can see our heroes in a meeting. Maki says that it's not an option, and it seems like Yuta has proposed something to the group, a plan that if all of them were to be wiped out from the coming battle against Sukuna, it's Yuta taking over Gojo's body, by copying Kenjika's body hopping technique. Panda explains that if Rika eats Kenjika's body, Yuta can copy his technique and then take over Gojo's body, to re-enter the fight. That would raise their victory. Kusakabe suggests if Yuta could just copy Gojo's limitless technique. Maki answers that Yuta would not be able to use it without the 6 eyes. Kusakabe replies, then copy the 6 eyes. Maki answers that he can't since it's a part of Gojo's body, not a technique. Maki explains that Yuta can only use his copied technique while Rika is manifested, which is only 5 minutes. So Yuta needs Rika to eat a person in order to copy their technique. If that's the case, then how did Yuta copied Inamaki's cursed speech technique without eating him? And if they went with Kusakabe's suggestion, then they would still need to feed Gojo's body to Rika in order to copy the technique, which is also not a good idea. Maki also asks if what would happen to Yuta if the 5 minutes are up. Yuta answers that he does not know, but Meme answers that there are 3 possibilities. One is that Kenjika's technique needs to be constantly activated. If that's the case, then after 5 minutes Yuta won't be able to maintain his soul in Gojo's body, resulting to him dying. 2 is that Kenjika's technique is intermittently. Yuta won't immediately die, but he will in a matter of time. 3 is Kenjika's technique will only need to be activated once, and even after 5 minutes Yuta would still be able to use the limitless. That would lead to Yuta staying inside Gojo's body forever. Yuta says that even if Rika is not manifested, he can still use his copy inside his domain, and if he fails, then he'll take over Gojo's body. But Maki in disgust doesn't agree with this plan. Yuta simply answers that it doesn't matter how they look at it, this is what they should do. But Kusakabe is concerned if what will happen to Yuta as a person, but Yuta coldly replies that they don't realize they're facing against the strongest sorcerer in all of history, Ryaman Sukuna, and if throwing away their sense of humanity is gonna give them a shot at winning, then they should do it. He asked them if becoming a monster like Sukuna really scares them that much. Man, talk about fighting fire with fire, becoming a monster to fight one. Maki replies that is important to them. Man, I think Yuta is on an edge of desperation right now. He shouts, what about Gojo? Asking if Gojo is important to them, it's because they've pushed the burden of becoming a monster to him alone. Yuta adds that if Gojo dies, then one of them will have to take his spot, and if no one wants to, then he will. Yuta then asks Gojo that if he dies he'd like to take over his body. Gojo asks Yuta on why does he sound pissed. Yuta replies if Gojo doesn't mind. Gojo answers that he does not care, since he won't lose anyway. Yuta answers that what pisses him off is Shoko, since she doesn't give a care. It's then revealed that Yuta might be a descendant from both Fujiwara and Sugawara's clan, making him distant relative to Gojo, making him more blessed than Gojo since he's from the two major clans, and that he should take advantage of it. Gojo adds that Yuta should need to take care of his sloppy curse energy manipulation. In what looks like a hallway, we can see Gojo, Yuta, Maki, Inamaki, and Panda walking together. Gojo asks them to head back, but all of them answer no. Gojo says that as a fellow sorcerer he can't order them to leave, but as a teacher he can't let them watch something gruesome. Gojo adds especially if he doesn't know if this is right or wrong. He says that even if he loses to Sukuna, as long as everyone in this room is dealt with, Gakuganji will be in charge, implying that Gojo is about to do something. Gojo opens a door and says that if that happens they won't have chaos like what they had in Shibuya. As he's about to enter the room he again asks his students to get out, but they replied that they will stay. I think this is when Gojo killed the higher-ups of the Jujutsu High, because of what they've done after the Shibuya incident. As Gojo enters, Yuta asks Gojo to not carry the burden of being a monster alone, but Gojo answers on his mind that there's nothing he can do about that, remembering Geto back then, when he had to do something monstrous like he's about to do right now, just for the things that he thought was right. He says back then he was left in the dust, and that now he has to catch up. In a scene Rin is showing his curse technique. He says that even he does not understand his technique. He says that it's like amplifying the sugar inside his body, and manifesting it in some way, as he shows creating a food from nothing. So this guy can basically create something sweet or anything that is made up of sugar, from his body's sugar. What a weird technique. Shoko then asks him if he can transfer his sugar to others. Rin replies that it's possible. Shoko then invites him to join the medical team as she needs him to supplement the brain using sugar during the technique activation. We jump to Yuta's operation. After he got hit by Sukuna's world-cutting dismantle attack, Rin sees Yuta's gruesome condition, as Erida says that even after using his technique to stop Yuta's wounds from getting worse, he can't heal him, as he sees Yuta's body in half just like Gojo. Rin adds that this damage is beyond Yuta's RCT capabilities, let alone his own. Man, Sukuna did really cut Yuta in half, but I wonder how the heck did Yuji survive? Since they got hit with the same attack, it might be that only half of Yuji's torso got hit and not cutting his entire body, giving him a chance to heal the damaged part with his crazy fast RCT. Or it might be that Yuji's body got also cut in half, but was able to stick it back using his RCT. Man, if this is true then Yuji is a monster at regeneration. A nearly dead Yuta then says that thanks to Rika he is still able to maintain consciousness, but he won't last long, as is reaching his limit. Shoko answers that she'll do it now as she has just done suturing Gojo's body, but says that once Yuta swaps with Gojo's body he'll need to use his RCT full throttle in order to finish the treatment. Yuta then apologizes that he'll need to take over his teacher's body. And in an epic last panel we can see Sukuna and Yuta activating their domain, and it looks like Yuta has now learned how to use an open barrier like Sukuna. Man, Gege did it again, but with this comes a lot of questions. If Yuta has truly copied Kenjika's CT, then it's possible he has also copied the CTs that Kenjaku took from the sorcerers that he possessed. If this is true then man, Yuta is the freaking all-for-one of JJK, and with the activation of both their domain, what will happen to Do and Yuji, that has been smack in the middle of them? Man, JJK is gonna get even more crazier. That's up guys. For more JJK updates, hit like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thank you, winky face.